All right, good morning. This is your other conductor, MadisonQuitter22. Today is a travel day, and as of today, we have all quitters aboard the Hall of Fame train. Congrats on your first big step towards the new you. And that is what I want to talk a little bit about today. You, but better. I'm going to be taking some concepts from a podcast I listen to regularly, Hidden Brain. It uses science and storytelling to reveal unconscious patterns that drive human behavior, shape our choices, and direct our relationships. So very applicable as we progress through our quit into the next stage. Today, I want to briefly cover the difficulties we've all faced pursuing to become better versions of ourselves. We all have things we want to change, become better versions of ourselves. I think sometimes we can get caught up in the external forces that keep us from achieving those goals, but we also need to look internally at ourselves. We can sabotage ourselves in different ways and hold ourselves back. It can be through laziness, forgetfulness, just being unorganized, or one concept I think is applicable for us as addicts is being impulsive. That impulsiveness to act before thinking, taking a breath, cooling down, or thinking about the consequences in that small time of frame can derail us. You can be weeks or months of planning all undone based on an emotional reaction without always factoring in what are the long-term repercussions. An example the podcast gives is, a lot of us are guilty of this, is responding to an email or a text, bam, right away, in a reactionary, emotional way, rather than taking a second to cool off, thinking about, do I really want to come off this way? So how does that relate to our quits? For many of us, this is not our first attempt. One thing that might have held us back in the past is that moment of weakness, convincing ourselves to go get a can just this one time, an impulsive, all right, I plan not to chew today, but I'm going to. I think the impulsiveness idea is interesting for us, though. That guise of impulsiveness in the moment that's what's happening, but what led up to that is what's referred to as a planned cave that started in advance to leading to that moment. So planned caves are talked about a lot. This can be not posting regularly, putting ourselves in situations might be difficult, such as drinking too much or hanging out with friends who dip, or just doing solo tasks that you used to dip during. And all the while, the addict in us is trying to create that false narrative that having one is no big deal, and you've got this, you've made it to 100 plus days, so what's the big deal of having just one? The other interesting concept is present bias, or the tendency that we're going to overweight what's going to provide us instant gratification in that moment, and we're going to undervalue what's going to provide us long-term value. This can be not exercising, putting off work projects, delaying retirement contributions. I'm sure we all have examples in our lives of things we're guilty of, deferring long-term success by living in the moment. So for us in the past, we would just throw a dip in and setting ourselves up for a harder road in the future. If we had not quit, then we would have all seen some form of more dire health consequences, whether that be higher dental bills or cancer or anything in between. Another way to look at this concept is the future self versus present self. So present me is all about now. I'm going to eat this ice cream, have that extra drink, stay up a little bit later, because the consequences of all that, future me has to worry about that. So good luck to him. But present me doesn't have to worry about or pay any consequences. And unfortunately, we all often make those decisions that are going to serve us best in the moment. You can see how that's easily transferable in our quit journey. We're all likely motivated to quit before we find our way here, but we've all failed, and that's led us to where we are now. In the past, I would daydream when I'm quit, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be in a better routine. And it was always so easy to put that off. And I've seen this concept on KTC presented as behaving like an adult versus behaving like a child, which I think is a elegant way to put it as well. So what are some ways for us to be successful in the present versus future self concept? So it's the things we're doing on this here every day. We're taking large goals, staying quit forever for the rest of our lives, and we break that into a series of smaller goals. It puts the present in more manageable increments, one day at a time. That's the concept we use here. And it really turns that present versus future self on its head, because now we're using the present to help our future selves with that one day at a time concept. Another way in which KTC allows us to be successful that the podcast discuss is in the moment feedback. That's where all of us come in. That's what the Hall of Fame month is all about. Real-time feedback from people supporting you to celebrate your accomplishment. So you'll see when you hit those next milestones, people congratulating you. Other people share life accomplishments, and it's a really great community. So we've all learned to truly value long-term success. That's why we're all here, by tackling our addiction one day at a time. So the first 100 days, especially those first few weeks, first few months, even maybe up until now, those were probably the toughest 100+ days of your adult life, or pretty close to it, both psychologically and possibly physically. I wanted to quit, but I would always ignore the conflict of the two selves, and present me would win out. And unfortunately, many people go through their life ignoring that concept and just living in the moment and not growing. But once someone recognizes the conflict there, though, that's a huge step. A light clicks on, and for us, thankfully, it led us all here. So it's allowing me to be a better version of me, which I am eternally grateful for. So that's all I got for today. Happy quit day. And tomorrow we will have another travel day. So hope you all have a good day.